Hello, welcome to JIT Television News Bulletin, where we bring you daily news, information, current affairs, business and investment, as well as finance and what is happening in the world of stock market and global economics. Entertainment is our business. News on multiple platforms for all Zimbabweans and all Africans on one channel. The time is here. Isikhathi sifikile. Let's take a look at your headlines this hour. Zimbabwe is set to introduce new plastic driver's license in June this year as the government seeks to bring the country in line with other African countries. South African Professor Mampweli says the rolling blackouts will stay longer than expected following Eskom's Stage 4 load shedding announcement. And on your sports, Sakunda Holdings is set to modernize Rufaro Stadium amid adoption agreement with the Harare City Council. Your leading story this hour, the Zimbabwean current metal driver's license will be replaced with a new plastic disc from June this year as government through the Central Vehicle Registry moves Zimbabwe in line with the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, Eastern African Community and SADC. In the region, South Africa and some other countries already use the plastic licenses, also known as plastic polymer licenses. Currently, those who pass their driver's license in Zimbabwe at the Vehicle Inspection Department departs countrywide are immediately issued with a temporary paper license before obtaining the metal license a few months later. One of the advantages of the new plastic licenses is that they will be printed instantly and have security features that will take them, or rather make them, difficult to forge, as well as being scannable. So checks immediately confirm authenticity and reveal any legal issues. In a statement, Transport and Infrastructural Development Minister Felix Mwana explains the need for the changeover, citing that the ministry is in the process of moving from the old metal disc to a new plastic disc, as the old metal disc technology and equipment is now obsolete. He adds that the proposed new disc is compliant with the COMESA, EAC and SADC tripartite region. However, the minister then pleads with the nation in the transition period, as this process is only expected to be completed by the end of June 2022. Moving on to other news, Mali says it would investigate the disappearance of several Mauritanians on its territory, which has caused a diplomatic row between the two West African countries. Mauritania summoned Mali's ambassador this week to protest the recent criminal acts perpetrated by regular Malian forces against its defenseless and innocent citizens in Malian territory, according to a foreign ministry statement. However, the statement did not further lay out its allegations against Malian forces or say how many people were missing. But in response, Mali's government spokesperson Abdoulaye Maiga says Mali would open an investigation and send out a high-level delegation to Mauritania capital Nouakchott in coming days. Meanwhile, Mali is dependent on the goodwill of Mauritania because its borders with most of its other neighbors are closed as a result of sanctions imposed by the Economic Community of West African States in January, and Mauritania is not a member of the bloc. ECOWAS imposed the sanctions after Mali's ruling junta announced plans to delay elections meant to restore democratic rule after two successive coups. However, Mauritania's government in statements this week says that its citizens had been killed in the past by recurring criminal acts by Malian forces and that officials in Mali had made commitments to address the problem. Relating to that, United Nations has repeatedly accused Malian soldiers of summarily executing civilians as suspected militants over the course of their decade-long fight against groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. The UN is also currently investigating the mass killings of dozens of people in central Mali earlier this month, but Mali's government denies that the army is responsible. Coming up next is your JIT-TV business news. Now, on your business news this hour, a delegation from the United Arab Emirates-based global supply, value chain and logistics company DP World takes to visit the National Railway of Zimbabwe this week to assess the state of the railway's infrastructure. NRZ's acting public relations manager, Martin Bender, says the gesture by the visiting delegation, which met Transport and Infrastructural Development Minister Felix Mona, reflects the level of confidence they have in the resuscitation of the parastatal. As a trade enabler in infrastructure like roads, rail and dry ports, their tour was aimed to capacitate the NRZ in strategic transformation in the configuration and operation of value supply chains and logistics locally, regionally, as well as internationally. Banda says this is in line with the NRZ recapitalization drive, which is being propelled by a strong business-driven model to expand its operations to meet demand created along the fast-growing minerals, agriculture, manufacturing, and retail value chains. The delegation comprises DP World Chief Executive Officer responsible for Kigali, Middle East and Africa Region Summit, Badwaja, as well as DP World Chief Executive Officer for Mozambique, Christian Ruder. They were using the visit to assess the state of NRZ infrastructure while carrying out feasibility studies of potential volumes that could be moved by the railway network. Additionally, assessments of sustainability of Rutenga, Mutare, Lions Den and Harare as locations to build dry ports were also invited. Moving on to other news, South Africa energy expert and director for the Center for Renewable Studies at the Stellenbosch University, Professor Samson Mampweli, says rolling out blackouts will stay longer than expected because of the manner in which the government has been handling Eskom's challenges. He argues that even new power stations have breakdowns, which is a serious concern if blackouts are to be avoided. Mampweli suggests that government should open the market for private power producers to alleviate pressure on Eskom, since the biggest challenge now is to what do people do with the aging infrastructure at Eskom that is breaking down quite easily. As his solution, Professor Mampweli requests for the government to bring forward the bid window 6 so that people don't have delays. Also, that when bid window 5 projects come live, window 6 will start to build because the country needs to up its game in terms of bringing in new generation capacity as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Eskom has escalated rolling blackouts from stage 2 to stage 4 from 9 a.m. to Wednesday morning due to further generation's capacity issues. The power utility says stage 4 rolling blackouts had to continue until 5 a.m. today. Thereafter, blackouts will be lowered to stage 2 until 5 a.m. on Monday. Well, this brings us to the end of our JIT television news, business news this hour. Up next is your sports and entertainment.
Local innovation with a global recognition. It's JIT-TV.
Shout out to you, the viewer. Shout out to all our advertisers.
Welcome back. Now taking a look at your sports news this hour. In a bid to change the face of football in Zimbabwe, Secunda Holdings are set to give Rufaro Stadium a massive facelift after securing the iconic venue on a long-term lease from Harare City Council. The energy giants, who also bankrolls traditional local football powerhouses, Dynamos and Highlanders, have agreed to upgrade the Mbare facility into a modern stadium that meets international standards, and they have been given the naming rights too. This follows their audacious applications to Harare City Council for a lengthy adoption of the long-neglected ground some few months ago. The municipality, who have been deliberating the issue for a long time now, agreed that after a full council meeting last week to let out the stadium to the entity. However, Rufaro has not been able to host local football matches for some years now due to lack of maintenance. The stadium had become an eyesore due to the continued neglect and dilapidation. But under the proposed arrangement, Secunda Holdings are expected to upgrade the entire stadium, including the playing turf, install bucket seats on the terraces, and rehabilitate the outside pitches, including help in the resurfacing of the surrounding road network. Moving on to your entertainment news, actor Jussie Smollett, one-time star of the TV drama Empire, will be sentenced in Chicago today for staging a hate crime against himself in what prosecutors say was a bid to gain sympathy and boost his career. Smollett faces a maximum sentence of 3 years in prison for each count, although he could be given probation. It is court case that in December, a Cook County Circuit Court jury found Smollett, 39 years old, guilty of 5 of the 6 felony disorderly conduct counts. He faced 1 for each time he was accused of lying to the police. Prosecutors say Smollett, who is black and gay, lied to the police when he told them he was accosted on a dark Chicago street by 2 masked strangers in January 2019. He claims the attackers threw a noose around his neck and poured chemicals on him while yelling racist and homophobic slurs and expression of support for former United States President Donald Trump. Police arrested the actor a month later, saying he paid 2 brothers $2,500 to stage the attack in an effort to raise his show business profile. He eventually pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of felony disorderly conduct. However, his case took an unexpected turn in spring 2019 when the Cook County Estate's Attorney's Office dropped a 16-count indictment against him in an exchange for Smollett forfeiting his $10,000 bond without admitting wrongdoing. As a result, Smollett's acting career declined. After the incident, he lost his role as a singer-songwriter in the final season of Empire, a Fox television hip-hop drama that ended a 5-year run in 2020. Well, this brings us to the end of your sports and entertainment news this hour. Up next is your JIT-TV weather report. Well, this brings us to the end of our JIT television news bulletin this hour. Stay tuned to JIT TV as we bring you the best in entertainment news, information, analysis, sports, business, and all the headlines of the day. And to stay in touch on Twitter, Facebook, and our website at www.jit-tv.tv and leave a comment. My name is Noguthula Shabalala in Ntombi Yakwamshengu. See you same time tomorrow and stay connected. Cheers.